Alright, we almost made it. This is the final round of Swiss for this tournament. At the moment, davidprophet, my opponent, and I are both sitting pretty much on the bubble. A split puts us on the cut, and a sweep probably gets either one of us in. Looking at a pretty good opening hand. I'm playing Andromeda against his Engineering the Future. He leaves the servers open, so we'll dirty laundry R&D to get an access. We'll come back and probably Siphon on headquarters. Actually, probably on Legwork and Siphon. Legwork first, kind of get an idea what's in his hand. If we see, that gives us a chance. If we see anything weird, like Scorched Earth or something like that, we'll know not to play the Siphon since he's got plenty of money. He's only got 3 cards in hand, so we actually will see his entire hand here. We pull an Efficiency Committee, we'll trash Jackson, and we see a Sansan City Grid that we can't trash. That does tell us he's probably playing a pretty basic Haas-Bioroid Fast Advance deck. We'll go ahead and get the Siphon off here. It's not going to do much to his economy at the moment, but it will get us up to a comfortable 13 credits. And we know he doesn't have a closed accounts or anything like that in hand. The same old thing is tempting, but he's got plenty of credits. It's not going to be a big tempo hit. We probably don't want to play that out there where he can trash it when we got the tag. We're going to go ahead and check the remote. And we see an Adonis, so we'll go ahead and dump that. And discard the Kade since we pretty much went tag me already. We're probably not going to find need for Kade this round. So we're going to keep pressure and keep running it. That's the ice wall that we just saw on the top of R&D. We'll head back to R&D, get some more accesses. And we see a wall static, so we definitely want to keep an eye out for Corroder. It'll be a good target for a special order if we draw one here. We'll go ahead and play out the same old thing. I don't think I like that move in hindsight. I think you probably want to go ahead and D-Soul and see what cards you can find. If he's smart, he'd trash that same old thing, but he must have missed it or didn't think about it. But since he's going to let it sit there, and I guess we can let it sit there, that is the wall of static he puts on R&D. Doesn't look like we'll need Plasticrate this round. We'll probably D-Soul on click 1 next turn. Looking for a barrier breaker, which is Corroder in this deck. So I'm not a big Andromeda player. Typically I play Gabe more often, but we kind of jumped on the bandwagon towards the end of this tournament and started playing Andromeda a little bit. We're going to Fim the Ice Wall, which lets us get a Siphon off into headquarters. That's probably the Sansan City Grid he's got in the remote. I think there's only one card come through R&D that we haven't seen. So from the cards that we've seen, the only thing that can be is Sansan. But he was sitting at a comfortable credit amount before the Siphon where he could have res that and scored something out. So we're going to go ahead and dump it, get rid of it. As long as he doesn't place something in front of that ice wall, which he would be smart to, we can get in and start playing out these shutdowns. Now we probably D-Soul looking for a barrier breaker. Still nothing. We'll face check it since we got a Sentry Breaker out. And he's not rezzing. See a Biotic Labor in hand. We're going to try to drain his money a little bit, and I mean we've got 3 emergency shutdowns, so we'll use one on the wall static. And we pulled an efficiency team. So good timing there. I don't typically run. Well, I don't run 3 emergency shutdowns in Andromeda anymore. Though they're a very good tool against Blue Sun. But 2's typically the amount that I run. People are running a lot of small ice for the most part these days, and emergency shutdown. Just that you don't get as much bang for your buck with it, but I mean it can be used even against these decks with smaller ice as a kind of a constant credit tax. So we trash the second Sand City grid now. If he is splashing the influence to run 3 of them in the deck, that third one's hopefully buried since he's already seen the first 2 pretty early. He's trying to shut down the centrals here. Probably assuming this is Sucker Andy, which it is. But
login rejected.
I think at this point you probably want to worry more about double icing the centrals before getting that first ice on archives. So the reason we play the legwork there is he didn't res headquarters when we were running it earlier. We're trying to get him to res that piece of ice so we can find out what it is for that Siphon. And of course, if it's a big piece of ice, we can inside job over it and shut it down. What we did find out, something very good for us and bad for him, is that that's a Chimera. That means for regular accesses, he's probably going to let us through. So we'll get the data sucker out and start running headquarters. And I mean, basically, it's our gain if he wants to spend 2 credits to keep us out. And he is.
Rejected.
So and that's going to be a constant drain on his economy if he's going to res that Chimera every turn. I really don't like running a Chimera on central servers, but that was the first 3 ice he drew. Was that the ice wall that I found, the wall static? He must have gotten the Chimera and just throwing it out there, trying to stave off account siphons, which makes sense. It's good for preventing the siphons, but it's not good for preventing accesses like he's doing. Gotta think that's probably an agenda. He didn't want us getting the legwork off. He didn't let us get a regular access. It's probably an agenda that he had in hand that he's throwing out in the remote. He's gonna give us access now. Kind of furthering my belief that that's an agenda in the remote. But it's 7 credits and us with 3. So we'll shut down the Eli. And then run back. If it's a 3-2, he still gets it this turn, but it's going to put him in a not a pretty situation if it's more than that. He reses another Eli, so he's got double Eli on the remote.
Login rejected.
Makes an inside job pretty strong there, because we can just click through the second Eli if he reses it. Scores a beta test, and he doesn't trigger it, which is a little surprising since he doesn't seem to have a lot of ice right now, but with me already at 4 points, he probably doesn't want to risk dumping anything into archives, at least not until he sees Jackson. And we see a 3rd Eli in headquarters. Basically, we're getting a Desperado credit and a data sucker counter every time we make a run on headquarters, so we're going to run there for a bit, find out more information. He does still have that biotic labor in hand. He's going to click for credits and put something else in the remote. So we keep taking the free accesses on headquarters. See another biotic labor. I'd be tempted to credit an inside job here. But if we shut down and run, if it's another 3-2, he won't have enough credits to res it, to score it on his turn. Now we can inside job. Hope it's not an APD contract. And it's an efficiency committee. So we got all 3 efficiency committees out of his deck. You gotta assume with fast advance he's running, I'd say 6-3-2, so it's kind of surprising we found 3-4-2s. But that does put us in the position where we want to check everything he puts down in the remote. We're gonna run Siphon here. Forces him to spend 2 credits to res a Siphon if he doesn't want it to go off. He reses the Adonis campaign as well, so that won't go off. That's not an agenda. And we see Eli again. He doesn't have any money, so I think we run Archives and check it at this point. Okay, he did have a couple face-down cards in there. As Director Haas' pet project, that puts 7 points. That's game. Alright, my opponent went on to concede the second game, so we'll go ahead and pull up. This is the final Swiss standings. A little bit funny because it's using a challenge, but the score column is the amount of prestige points. You see I finished with 18, and 4th overall in the North American division for Swiss, behind Haney, who swept us, Mediocre, and Nordrunner. And that puts me into the cut, so we'll be back with the double elimination games.